All right, here's my hopefully short analysis and multimedia podcast episode talking about the series which is called Blood Drive, and I've watched just the first episode, and it was very fun to watch. For me, it's like an over exaggerated mixed bag of genres that tries to make fun of itself and of reality. So to be something like a like say anti-TV, anti-regular, anti-prestige, over exaggerated like anti-TV realism. It mixes genres like from fantasy because it is set in an alternate past in 1999. It borrows from western, the extreme wide shots where it doesn't show horses but cars, like in a Mad Max kind of future. Then it has comedic elements. It's not like a sitcom, but everything is exaggerated, everything is over exaggerated. Then it borrows from horror. It has a lot of gore and zombie death blood references, and the editing and the multi-angle cinematography is very much reminiscent of action movies. And then there's the grindhouse genre. I think that is not really a genre, but people know what it means. It means basically B movies, low budget, and it references back to cinema in theaters that were not run by big corporations and not by the studio owned theaters. I think that can be traced back. That's what I know from Wikipedia. From to the 1920s, they had a grind policy, which means like people had to pay different relation to which time of day they would just come in, and so Grindhouse basically is like low budget, extreme over exaggerated movies with like fast cars, even faster women, scary man, lots of blood, senseless plots, and a dark grain, like stylish thing that is reminiscent of even now of VHS quality, 35 millimeter film. And the characters inside of movie are basically overacting. There's a specific type of music here that is reminiscent of the 80s and 90s. We can hear in this first episode music from Def Leppard, but also from Marilyn Manson. And of course, there's a lot of sound effects that are over exaggerating things. And the color grading is reminiscent of Western movies sometimes, but also there's contrast. Like in the police office, it's very much white and cold blue or greenish. And then where the fun is at, like at the blood race, which is setting in the future where people were driving on cars on human blood because gas is so expensive. So basically, it is this series is based on reality, and it makes fun of the fears we have in reality, and it's over exaggerating the tendency that people have in their minds and fear and all that stuff. That's how I'm getting it. So I think what the series is basically about is not trying to please anyone in general, but very specific audience, which is also addressed because there's a show inside of the series, like a show inside the show. And the narrator is basically someone who is like stylishly very reminiscent of someone we would associate as being a Satan or devil, and he introduces himself to be the god of the stage. So basically, it is also trying to tell us like a metaphor. The god, the narrator of every stage is basically the devil himself, and it is not a bad thing. It is cool. So the series tries to be bad, and by trying to be bad, it tries to be good to its intended audience. So yeah, we can see like fast-paced editing, low camera angles, high camera angles, different multi-camera angles. We can see handheld like cam close-ups that are very shaky, enhancing the action. Everything is very stylish, so the narrative basically is the combination of styles here from different genres. The series was first aired, as much as I know, in 2017 on a Sci-Fi channel, which is part of NBC Universal, which is owned by Comcast in the United States. And its writer has been, I think, James Rowland, and the main director has been David Straighten, but there's also been guest, I think, directors that have created different episodes. And the characters inside of the series, I think the intention was to over exaggerate them, like in a Marvel universe, but not over exaggerating like superheroes or anti-villains, but like regular people that are just in between real life and in between like a fantasy life. So they have names like the Gentleman, the Scholar, and there's a Fat Elvis and all that stuff. So it's kind of making fun of itself, and it's like absurd in some kind of way. Like I said, it's kind of trying to be anti-culture and cool at the same time. Not really political correct, but basically the opposite. It is using characters that are stereotypical, like especially the roles of females and males. So it enhances like that women have to be like beautiful and sexy, and men, this is what one woman tells like a tough cop who she calls Barbie, and she tells him men are supposed to have scars and not be pretty. Or another thing is, the Gentleman tells us that his obsessions are good manners, and he's a gentleman after all, he says. But then we see how cruel he is in his action. So after all, to sum it up, I think this is a show that is like a sitcom, but it doesn't use a stage in front of an audience, but it uses like a setting, like an action movie or like different kinds of genre movies, narrative film, to make a show and make fun out of different situations based on real life, but also based on TV culture. And makes fun of TV culture in general and entertainment business in general. Like at one point, we also see the tough cop with his woman inside the car, and they're looking inside directly into the camera. So it makes fun of like even like nowadays surveillance, over exaggerating. Basically, the movie exaggerates everything, even contrast and style in general, and that's what makes it cool and what makes it fun to watch.